Hi, my name is Jake and I'm one of the co-founders at KivaKube, and today I want to show you the evolution from our very first prototype, this guy here, all the way to the finished product that's going to be for sale, for retail. With this one, we wanted to make sure that the concept was going to work first of all, right? And so it's pretty crude. You've got metal handles here, which, you know, looking back, not a great idea. You're going to burn yourself. And we actually started with a 3-grate system, which, yeah, it allows you for a lot of grill space. But the problem was, you know, how are you supposed to access the food there? This hinge right here, you'll see, is kind of crude. It's totally different on the system there. This hinge right here, you're going to see a big evolution. We have this crude hinge system here with a spring, and it was supposed to kind of come down in, and you'll see it lock into place right there with this little pin so that it would stay put and it wouldn't move around on you. Also, the positioning of this guy here, and you'll see it doesn't really sit flush, and it's kind of wiggles. And when you would close this down, let's see if I can move it. There was nothing to hold it, so it could just move around. And then there also needed to be a way to control the temperature, so we built an air vent right here with these little slats to be able to let air in or close it down if you wanted to reduce the heat. So this is what we call revision B, and one of the first things we had to do was get some real handles on this so that you could use it and it wouldn't burn you. So we added these wood handles to both the lid so that when this is all closed down, it gives you a way to carry it as well. We added 2 different air vents. So the other one had one, and they're much, much larger, so that you can add way more air to there and then also to this side right here. You'll see here we've got only 2 grates in there because we decided 3 was just too much. There's not enough room to move around. We added a thermometer onto here. So now you can tell how hot it is. You're not just guessing. On the top of the chimney here, you've got airflow adjustment. You can open that up, close it down as well. But one of the other problems was that when you had folded that one down, there was no way to really lock it. We added a latch system right here. So now you could take it, lock it down, and then you could carry it by these new handles that we added on. The other thing I want to show you is the revision on the main hinge for the inner lid. There's a big bend right here, and what that allows it to do is when you flip it up, now all of a sudden it's sitting flush here, and we don't have to worry about that big long piano hinge going all the way across there. We have these little knockouts that you'll see on the side. There's one on this side, and then there's one on this side that are designed for rotisserie, so you could stick a rod through there, connect it on the other side. And notice how the fuel tray has a top and a bottom, so it has to line up perfectly with that, and then we just had a couple of wing nuts on the end of there. But we added this into there because what we found was adding some sort of grate improved the temperature and the performance of the charcoal versus just sitting right onto the bottom of this. So now instead of just getting up to 250, maybe 300 degrees sitting on there, now you could go well over 500 degrees sitting onto this grate. For revision C, the big change really was the hinge system, and then there's a few other smaller changes that we did. But if you look at this hinge right here, you'll notice it's a square shape. So we squared it off and beefed it up. So now it's much more rugged. It can handle much more weight. The lid had a tendency to kind of get loose with the old one, so this was able to further stabilize that so it didn't happen. All right, you'll notice how it knocks down into there a lot more smoothly than the old one did. We made a big change to the inner lid because now that we had added this, on the old one, when you flipped it up, this would smack against the lid there. So what we did is we indented that. So you'll see there's kind of an indentation there. So now, see how it kind of goes up right there, indents, comes back. So now it can sit flush If you remember on the first prototype, this part came all the way around and you had to pull it straight out. Instead now, you could just lift it up slightly and pull this right off. And that made it just easier and quicker to get the fuel tray in and out. Just go up a little bit and lock it down, little quarter twist. On this revision right here, you'll notice the lid sits on this little lip that we had welded onto the outside so that when it comes down, it's got something to rest on. So this is what we call revision D. Now this is the last revision we made up till the final production model. We just talked about how this the chimney sat on top of that little lip on the edge. So we changed that for this one. It's now welded onto the inside of the lid right here. Then when it comes down, it rests right there. That's not sticking out. It's just, it looks better, it works better. It was a nice little improvement. One of the other big changes that we made for this one was we made the lid much taller or thicker. So if you notice just real quick on this one, you're just over an inch tall. This one is almost double that. And the reason is because on that little one, your knuckles were very close to the edge right here, and now they're not. So you're not gonna scratch your knuckles. Another big change we made was to the handle end pieces. So these are now made of aluminum, and they're much beefier, and it allows us to be able to change out the handles if there's damage. Whereas these other ones were they were gonna be much more difficult to be able to, replace in case of damage. Some of them were even welded in. So these, totally removable, swap them out, they're beefier, they look better. We also changed the shape of our hooks to be a square. They're a little bit wider as well to accommodate more utensils, and the square just kind of holds them in there better, and frankly it fits the aesthetic and the design of the cube much, much better. We changed the positioning of the handles to be on either side of the lid instead of being right here in the middle. And what that did is it made it much easier to be able to lift it up. If I lift it up here, you can see it's just a natural motion versus when it was on the front side here, you had to lift clear over the top. And if this thing's hot, we don't want people to put themselves in a position where they're gonna burn. One of the things we really wanted was a grill that was easy to be able to clean and would also be able to handle the grease. Because one of the things that we added onto this was a griddle. Instead of just 2 grill grates, now it came with 2 grill grates plus a griddle, so you're gonna have a little bit of grease buildup. So if you come in here, I'll show you, we built these channels. Let me take the grate out so I can show you. Inside of here, you'll notice that we have these now welded, these channels. The channels will run the grease right down to here onto this little plate, which will come out the back and we'll show you where there's a little grease receiver. This is our little grease cup. It's got the little hooks. Hook right into these little slots here, easy to detach and attach. We also, with this revision, changed the location of the little rotisserie knockouts. So now they're moved up and a little bit more forward, and this would allow for, you could accommodate bigger items on your rotisserie. As we were getting closer to what we figured was the final model, we wanted to start putting some branding in there. And so we lasered out the logo right here into the lid, and then also into the grates right here. You'll have to come kind of close to see it, but we put it right into the grates. One of the biggest changes we made from revision C to revision D is this huge weld that goes all the way down the back of here. We got rid of that. Now instead, the metal is all bent. So it's just bent around and there's just one weld on the front and there's no longer a weld right here. So it cut down manufacturing time, and which saves cost because we want to make this as affordable as we can. This is the final production model, and we've gone from all of those revisions to get to this. We've now got the KivaKube logo on all of the handles, and they're all stained. Also, the hinge here, this is a huge change actually, right? Come look at the size of this hinge. It's almost an inch longer here and an inch longer on the top. And it's much beefier. It's much stronger. So now the lid is rock solid. We changed the position where the lid would settle on. You see this notch right here. And so now it comes and it settles perpendicular with this. In the past, it actually came all the way to here before it stopped. But the problem was, and you'll see, when you go to lift this up, you're almost hitting on this handle right here. And so it didn't make sense to have it stop right there. It makes much more sense to have it right there. Now it's free and clear of opening the lid. One more huge refinement we had to make was the positioning of the grease trap. And what we had to do was we had to move it to right here to the front of the unit versus the back to be able to make sure that we could accommodate all of the convert kits. So we had to make sure that the pellet convert kit and the gas convert kit would fit into there and slide in without hitting on where the grease went to. So to wrap this up, I just want to give you a tour of exactly what the production model will be. When you get it in your hands, this is exactly how it will come. So here it is all packed up. So you would just simply release the latch, swing out the lid, lift it up, lift up the inner lid, and you'll see here what it comes with. You've got a top grate, you've got your grease, which you'll put right into here. You've got this piece right here, which I'll show you how this works in just a second. You've got your griddle, and then you've got your other cooking grate. This is for hanging meat. You can hang from these little holes right here. I'll show you how it attaches to the top here. All you would do is take these little grooves right here, line it up with the edges, put it like that, and then you've got each of these marks that you could hang from. Ideally, you would take out these grates. They're really easy to take out. I'll show you that in just a second. And then, yeah, you could hang your food right from there. So once you've got them hung up on here, you can still close the lid, like if you're smoking or baking, without hitting onto the hanging piece. So it opens up and it works just fine, even with that hanging piece right there. It's really easy to take the grates in and out for cleaning, or when you want a little bit more space down here. You just lift up on the one side and it comes straight out like that. It's got these feet right here that it rests onto. There's 3 of them. It's the same thing for these. Lift it up this way. There's your griddle. And there's your grate. So that's the end of our tour here. You can see it's come a long ways from the very first prototype we built all the way to the final production model. We're very happy with how it's turned out. We've taken this thing on a lot of adventures, testing it out ourselves. We've cooked hundreds of pounds of steak on it, and it works beautifully. We hope you're really excited, and you'll love it as much as we do. You can also find us on all your favorite social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, at KivaKube. So just search at KivaKube and follow us there for way more content. We've got videos, we've got photos showing how it's used and everything else, and we'll have a lot of fun content we're posting soon.